Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boston Tea Party Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Kellogg, and this is episode number 15, part of the All Day Football Show. Hope you all enjoy this week's episode. Getting right into it, we've got topics of the day include predictions and analysis for Week 15 at the Miami Dolphins, as well as weekly transactions as usual. So this week, the Patriots are playing the Miami Dolphins. It is Week 15. The Dolphins are sitting at 8-5. Right now, they are currently sitting at the 7th seed in the wild card spots for the playoffs. So if the Dolphins win out, then they're technically in the playoffs. Patriots sit at 6-7. They're technically not out of the playoffs yet, or out of competition, but it does look like a very slim chance for it to happen. So they would have to win out, and for the Patriots to get into the playoffs, they would need the Dolphins to lose two out of their next three. The Browns would have to lose two out of their next three, or one out of their next three, and the Ravens would have to lose two out of their next three. So it is a very tough road to get there, and I don't think it's going to be able to happen. But nonetheless, you don't want to tank. You want to still compete for wins, see what you have going forward in this team. So right now, the playoffs, though they're out of reach, the Patriots can still play spoiler to the Dolphins. If we remember last year, the Patriots in Week 17 were sitting at, I believe it was 12-3. I think it was 12-3. It was either 12-3 or 11-4. They were expected to take the number 2 seed against the woeful Dolphins, who were not very good last year. They were similar to the Jets, where a lot of people expected them to go winless, but then they pulled through in the second half of the season to get wins. The Jets haven't been able to do that. Now, what happened was the Dolphins, a team that was a heavy underdog in that game, upset the Patriots in a dominant win by the Dolphins to close out their season. I believe they went 5-11, whereas the Patriots finished out either 12-4 or 11-5. I forget exactly what it was, but it knocked them out of the bye, and they had to play the Titans as the 3 seed, and they got beat, and we all know how that went. So I finally looked up Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks. Bill Belichick is 21-5 with the Patriots as head coach of the Patriots against rookie quarterbacks. That's an insane record, and we'll get in. You can see it at the bottom there, but I do think that record is gonna get even bigger, as I do think that the Patriots are gonna win today. But let's get into more analysis. So we'll start with the offensive side of the ball for the Patriots. The offense is clearly one of the worst in the league. It's a mix of talent, scheme, and just overall play. If you look at the talent level first, the best receiver that the Patriots have right now is Damiere Byrd. And though that may seem perfectly fine, it's really not. Damiere Byrd and Jakobi Meyers are their current wide receiver 1 and 2s. You can debate over which one is the wide receiver 1, which one is the wide receiver 2. I think Byrd is the 1, but that's a horrible receiving core. Jakobi Meyers and Damiere Byrd are great development projects. Though Damiere Byrd is a little bit of an older development project, he's a depth piece. He's not meant to be a wide receiver 1. If you want to look at some of the worst teams in the league, you look at the Jets. Their receiving core, when healthy, is Brashad Perriman, Jamison Crowder, and Denzel Mims. That's a way better receiving core than the Patriots. You want to go to the next worst team, Jacksonville Jaguars. DJ Chark, Keelan Cole, Laviska Shenault, D.D. Westbrook. They have plenty of receivers, and that's, again, better than the Patriots. I think the only team... No, I was about to say the Bears have a worse receiving core, but they have Allen Robinson. The Patriots don't have an Allen Robinson, which is why in the offseason the Patriots need to target some veteran elite wide receivers, which there will be plenty out there, including Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Godwin. There's plenty of guys for them to go get. So in that aspect, looking at the offensive talent, Damian Harris has showed up in the last few weeks. He's been a great running back, looks like a good future running back. He is out this week against the Dolphins, which means Sony Michel gets his backfield back. And then the offensive line is clearly the best unit for this team on offense. One of the best in the league, though it did shut down heavily last week as they could not get anything going against the Rams. They allowed pressure after pressure. It was statistically the worst offensive line performance since I think it was like 2011 for the Patriots O-line, which surprised me because I thought it would be the 2013 AFC Championship game as the worst O-line, but no matter. The tight ends have been abysmal this year. Ryan Izzo is not a future tight end. Devin Asiasi, Dalton Keene have not been able to develop at all this year into true starting tight ends. And then getting to the most important position on offense is the quarterback. Cam Newton, though he is a great leader, has a great personality. I love him as a person. He's been a horrible quarterback for the Patriots this year. He's 5 for 10 in touchdown interception ratios passing. He's rushed for like 10 rush yards, though, I believe. But even then, your total touchdown to interception ratio is 15 to 10. That is absolutely atrocious. That's worse than Jameis Winston has had. You can say, oh, Jameis Winston had 30 interceptions. Yeah, but he threw for more than 30 touchdowns to, kind of help him out a bit. Only 15 total touchdowns on the year for Cam Newton. And his arm and throwing motion looks so awful. I don't think he ever fully recovered from that shoulder injury, and if he did, it still messed up his mechanics. He throws the ball into the ground. Anytime he tries to launch it deep, it falls short. Or any throw for that matter. It just falls short, whether it's deep or close up. All of his throws are short. He can't read the defense from the line of scrimmage. He can't audible into a new play. He can see a blitz coming and completely ignore it. He's very jittery in the pocket whenever there's a ton of pressure and he's trying to throw a ball deep. He'll pull it back in and just end up scrambling out of the pocket. He's not a stand-in-the-pocket quarterback, and that's what the Patriots keep trying to turn him into. And when he does scramble, he's not as fast as he used to be. He just looks slow and big, and he's going to get himself injured again. So this offense, I don't think it's going to do very well against the Dolphins. I mean, I have Dolphins defense starting in fantasy football this week, to put it in retrospect. But the Patriots defense, on the other hand, is a better, brighter spot. They have so many young talents that are performing. Kyle Duggar, Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings are all going to be future defensive studs. Then looking at some other players on that defense, J.C. Jackson, Chase Winovich, Stephon Gilmore, Adam Butler. It's a beautiful thing to have where you have a lot of defensive talent that's sitting on rookie contracts. That means in this offseason where the Patriots have tons of money to spend, whereas other teams don't, the Patriots can put a lot more money towards getting offensive weapons for whoever the quarterback is next year. I don't think it's going to be Cam Newton, and I don't want it to be Cam Newton. Again, I love Cam Newton, the guy, but not the quarterback. So the defense, I think the key to stopping the Dolphins offensively, the defense needs to just play how it has the last few weeks, other than the fact that it needs to stop the run. The Dolphins are one of the worst rushing offenses in the league for the fact they don't really have a true running back. I think right now their starting running back was like Patrick Laird, because they've dealt with so many injuries in that backfield. Or DeAndre Washington, who they traded for with the Chiefs. But that running game isn't the greatest, so it's a good game for the Patriots to work on rush defense, because they're not going to have Cam Akers gashing them for 174 yards in this game. So they can, I think a contain defense is going to work great in this game, because Tua is a mobile quarterback, so if you run contain, you get Chase Winovich, John Simon on the edges, keep Tua in the pocket, and force him to make the throws downfield. And he is a rookie quarterback who hasn't performed as like an all-star. So when I talk about Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, those quarterbacks have put their teams on their back and carried them to victories. Tua Tagovailoa hasn't done that. His defense has been the main carrier. Tua, he looks good, not great. And for that reason, I don't think Tua is going to make the correct decisions to go win this game for the Dolphins. Though they do have some better offensive talents in Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, I do think that it's going to be tough for the Dolphins to be able to get anything on the offense going. Luckily for their defense, stopping the Patriots isn't going to be too hard. The Dolphins are going to load the box with probably 8 guys, run a single high safety with their 2 cornerbacks, Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, lined up on our 2 receivers because we never put more than 3 receivers in the play at one time, and when we do, it's fairly easy to stop. Just loading the box is going to make it really tough. Josh McDaniels is going to do a terrible job play calling. I can already see it. We're going to run halfback dive or draws on 2nd and 9 with 8 guys in the box. It's very easy to see, and it gets frustrating to watch over and over again. But we'll get into predictions here. I do think the Patriots pull out with a win, 20-13. Possibly a defensive touchdown in here. The Patriots offense, it's gonna have to only run the ball. Their passing game is done, and that's gonna get really tough. In these last 3 games, is every team, all 3 of these teams are in their division. They know what the Patriots are, and they know how to stop them. 8 in the box, single coverage on the wide receivers, single high safety. It's the easiest way to beat the Patriots offensively. You run a contained sort of with the 8 guys in the box, where you have your 4 D linemen. They just run straight up the middle, and in your 4 linebackers, you get your 2 outside linebackers to contain the edges, and then your 2 inside linebackers kind of drop into like a coverage, like a zone, middle of the field kind of spy, where they just watch what's going on in the field, go to help out wherever. And I think that's the easiest way to beat the Patriots offense, because you're plugging up the middle with a ton of bodies, you're containing the edges so that Cam Newton can't scramble and they can't run outside, and you're forcing Cam Newton to have to make throws in one-on-one coverage against receivers, and I don't think he can do it. And with those 2 inside linebackers, just if they drop into zone coverage in like the middle of the field, you're going to stop a whole bunch of Patriots routes that include ins, crossers, slants, digs. It's a very easy offense to stop. And Brian Flores, the Dolphins head coach, former Patriots defensive coordinator, he's done a great job installing a great culture and a great team in the Dolphins. But I do think it falls short. I don't think Tua is going to be able to do what he needs to do on offense to be able to help the Dolphins carry through with a win. With that, I think Sony Michel and Cam Newton are going to combine for 150 rushing yards or more. I think they're just going to ground and pound this game with Cam Newton and Michel just back and forth between who takes the ball, and they're just going to go right down the field rushing the ball. And for Tua Tagovailoa being the rookie quarterback who we haven't seen a whole lot out of him, I think he throws 3 interceptions this game against a killer Patriots defensive back crew. That secondary is one of the best in the league when they are all on their game, and they're not going to have to worry about being on their game totally. Stephon Gilmore is going to be one-on-one with Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker did pretty well against Gilmore in their meeting last year. Let's see if Gilmore can get his revenge, as Gilmore has played a lot better receivers than Parker this year. But the rest of the receivers aren't too hard to cover. You throw Jawan Williams or Kyle Duggar on Mike Gesicki, get an actual defensive back on the tight end, and that should be it. It's gonna be a close game. It's not gonna be any means of blowout. The Dolphins did go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, to put it that way. The Dolphins' defense, it does have its moments of shining, but it has to do it in the right time. They intercepted Mahomes 3 times, sacked him a bunch, but they still couldn't pull through with the win. So let's see if they can try to get a similar statistical line against the Patriots, but actually get stops, stopping them from scoring. Weekly transactions, nothing crazy this week, just defensive back Dane Lake was released from the practice squad. They picked him up last week, and they signed offensive lineman Earl Watford to the practice squad. He's played for a couple teams, the Cardinals, the Bucks. I think there was one more, but I forget who it was. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you aren't already. It is free, and you can always just unsubscribe if you choose to. Though I hope you don't. Anyways, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your football Sunday, and let's go root for the Patriots to beat the Dolphins today.